place falling down. So a little set of narrows here now between the end of the big island and the small one. Before, two boats a nice bit bigger than mine just went through, so just take my time, keep an eye out. So I'm about 15 miles out and just coming around the end of Swan Island here, getting the first glimpse at my destination, Icebergs Island. So I've arrived at my destination, Icebergs Island. It's actually two islands with a channel in the middle. There. Used to be a community here one time, but was resettled back in the 60s. So finally situated in the outer harbour, Icebergs Island. Took a little bit of time to go exploring around, and multiple tries to get the anchor to set properly. The water is deep. I don't really have enough scope, but it's going to have to do. Most of the moorings belong to the yacht club, and the big public wharf were already occupied. A little bit of footage of the anchorage here right now. Just came ashore. My trusty dinghy, some lobster pots, a few boats. One belongs to one of these cabins, I guess. Boat looks pretty nice sitting out there. A bit of a mess. I'll clean her up later. Time to get a few mussels. Mussels. Inshore now, just walking up the trail, along by some of the homes. Boat moored off. Lobster pots here by the camps. I'm gonna go check out this whole graveyard right now and see what the headstones have to say. Then up to the top of the hill for a good lookout, and then probably back for supper. Just up in the graveyard there now, having a look around. This lady here died August the 8th, 1876, age 23. Pretty young. Pretty sad one here, a small one. Memory of Amos, son of Thomas and Martha Miller. Died June 13th, 1895, age 5 years, 11 months. Another look down at the harbour and the boat. Someone else heading along today. See a lot more icebergs offshore. If I had more time. Just up on the other side of the hill, there's a gulch that comes right in here. Runs right up, fairly deep. I'd say this is a pretty interesting place to be when there's a big swell rolling in. Now I've just walked out a gorge in behind the cabins out from where I'm moored. You can see the mast of the boat there. Rolls on it through here. You can see this huge pile of rocks in between the cliffs. First glance it looks like it's a natural pile of rubble, but I'll walk up to the other side here now and show you it's actually man-made. Okay, so this is the front side of the rock wall you just saw. See, it's all piled up. It's right out here to this gulch. I assume they put this here because I figure on big storms, the waves must have crashed right down through on it into the area where the homes were. It's probably unreal when you look at the size of those stones to think that somebody carried those here, either by hand or with the help of horses. Pretty neat, I think. Oh, back on board the boat. Back inside. A bit of a mess to clean up now. Everything's kind of in a big state from today. It's hard to manage the boat and keep everything organized when you're by yourself. But I've got a pot full of mussels on my my alcohol burner stove. Haven't used this thing before. We'll see how long it takes to bring a pot to boil now. But those should be delicious. Well, I just gobbled down about 2 pounds of mussels. Partly cleaned up from supper. It's getting late in the evening now. Pretty beautiful here right now. It's nice and warm. Had a local fellow just pull up on a boat and tell me a little bit of history of the island, about some of the old roads that go around the island and whatnot. Just sitting up here on the bow, reading a little book and relaxing. Hopefully my my anchor will hold for the night. The winds are supposed to be the same or lighter through the night. Well, morning time. Had a good night's sleep. The wind's changed around to the opposite direction of what it was last night. The anchor holds up well, which is great. Woke up a couple times to check on it, but nothing too serious. Well, everything is packed away. Sails and rigging and whatnot are ready to go. A little breeze from the northeasterly. I'll poke my nose into the open sea and see what the conditions are like decide on the iceberg trip. If that doesn't go ahead, or if they haven't moved inshore, I will head back between the two islands and make sail for home. So, getting outside of the headlands now, back into the narrows I just came from. Decided to do the iceberg trip. Okay, so I'm almost out to the iceberg here now. You've got to be really careful on these things because they're incredibly unstable. On the way out, the top of this thing was pretty much level across the top as opposed to the slope it's on now, and a huge piece broke off. And the whole right-hand side, which is kind of smooth and shiny, that popped up out of the water, whereas it was underwater before. So you can see all the large pieces of ice floating around it. Those are things that have broken off, and some of them are actual shelves that extended under the water from the part you can see. So you've got to be particularly careful. And I'm going to go in close and take a look, and if I can, I'm going to snatch up a few little burgy bits with my big dip net and have some iceberg ice in my drink tonight. So this is about as close as I plan on going. You can see all the big chunks, we call those growlers, that have broken off, and all the small bits down in the water there. Coming in behind the iceberg because it gives me a little bit of a break from the waves and wind. Big chunk of ice all the way from Greenland to the coast of Newfoundland. See, looking back into the headlands here. There's a few really big ones farther outside. It's hard to tell from the camera, but that's actually a massive scale iceberg. It's a long ways out. Alright, I'm going to get my dip net and see if I can get me some ice. Alright, well, I just finished my ice collection. See all the little pieces and some of the very bigger pieces hanging out behind. This is the result here. Some 10,000-year-old ice. I just got to break it up a little bit to get it fit in cooler. That's harder than it sounds. This stuff is like rock, literally. And then head back in for Exploits Island. Back to Exploits Island, the inner harbor, the bigger one. Heading that through. Fly to Exploits Island. Just pulling out now. There's Mr. Coast Guard who was there yesterday. Still not sure what they're doing in behind this island all this time. Well, the wind has picked up a bit now. It's maybe, oh, I don't know, 10 knots or so, I'm just guessing. But doing about 4 knots or so myself, just flicking along. Very relaxing pace, barely heeled over. And I'm in the shade of the sails, luckily enough, because my face is getting a bit sunburned and I forgot to bring sunscreen, or I had, before planning. It's going to be a beautiful trip home. Alright, coming through Hornet Gut. A lot of fellows store lobster pots along the shore here. Well, I'm tempted to get a graph in here somewhere and have lunch, but I'd rather get further in first, I think. Well, getting pretty close to home now. Going through another narrow, not really narrow, but another passage here between islands, between Seavier's Island and Birchie Island. I had to give up on the sails. The winds have dropped out light, and even with every fish sheet I had up, I was only getting about 1.5 knots, probably just a touch. Although it seems to be coming up a little bit again now. I've been steaming for about half an hour. See my first whales of the trip. He's only popping up for a second or two at a time though, so it's hard to catch him on video. Slow it down here and see if I can get a decent shot. And the sun makes it very hard to see him on the viewfinder. He seems to be only just traveling along, going fairly shallow, so I might get another good shot at him here. Bogey's gonna stay down long this time. Don't think I got a good shot out of it. Alright, we are back at the yacht club. Boat's all secure. A few things I have to put up to the car. Garbage to get rid of. Gas tanks to refill. Nice slack yacht club here in Lewisport. A lot of boats gone out today, but still quite a few around. Get packed up now and head home. It was a good weekend.